Hey guys, Matt here for Science or Fiction. Doesn't it seem like all those cool things we dreamed about happening in the future are finally becoming a reality? Like flying cars, or going to Mars, or cloning. Next thing you know, they're going to say that floating cities are no longer a dream. It says that right now, doesn't it? Yeah, thought so. Are floating cities the new future of civilization? Will we be living in aquatic societies in the coming decades? Well, if you're living off the coast of French Polynesia, maybe. The government of the collection of islands in the South Pacific has agreed to develop an experimental floating city with a group called the Seasteading Institute by 2020. The island will include residences, hotels, restaurants, all the stuff you'd see in a normal city just out in the ocean. In addition, the Seasteading Institute wants the city to function as a hub for scientific research. Sounds super futuristic and cool, right? But is this as close to reality as these headlines make it seem? Well, let's look at the floating aspect of the city first. Technically, the idea is similar to, but not exactly, an artificial island, which have been around for a long time. I mean, people were building them 1,500 years ago in Micronesia, and we still make them to this day. Artificial islands are built on landfill, they don't float or move, and their construction can be environmentally disruptive. What the Seasteading Institute is proposing is much more advanced. Their website states that they've settled on a sustainable, modular design with interlocking platforms that will actually float on water, which does sound pretty awesome. And sure, floating villages are a thing that already exist too, but there isn't a huge city of this kind of scale floating around right now, which also means there's also no promise that it will work. I mean, this is just a proposed design. We've never done it before. It's kind of like the Hyperloop. I mean, it sounds super exciting, but what we're really talking about is a train, magnets, and pneumatic tubes, three old technologies that may or may not work when we put them all together. And even if it does work, well, it might not ever be put to use. Sorry, Elon. So for the moment, the floating city idea may still just be science fiction. But what about the scientific research hub part? I mean, that sounds great, right? Well, due to the nature of living at sea, the project has begun focusing on studying sustainable technologies like desalination, renewable sources of energy, and how to grow food when you're stuck in the middle of the ocean. Basically, the island would be one big lab for all of that. And there are scientists who are really excited about this kind of an opportunity. But there are some skeptics of the project's true intent, and that's because the Seasteading Institute was originally more about creating an independent nation than studying sustainable science. The idea came from venture capitalists from Silicon Valley while at Burning Man, and only good ideas come from Burning Man, right? Ugh. While the focus seems to have shifted towards science, there's still a political aspect to this project. Blue Frontiers, which is part of the Seasteading Institute, wants a 0% tax rate from French Polynesia on the island, as well as regulatory exceptions. And in an interview with ABC News Australia, Seasteading spokesman Joe Quirk talked about floating islands creating new governments and societies as if they were tech startups. And while French Polynesia does have a real concern for rising sea levels, for which a floating city sounds like a solution, they're also mostly focused on economics. The country has an 18% unemployment rate and could really use the industry. But whether the island is truly a haven for science or just a playground for rich idealists, the project is moving forward with its $60 million price tag. Funding will partially come from virtual currency because, well, Burning Man, guys, of course it's going to be funded with virtual currency. But what do you think? Are floating cities the wave of the future, or are they just something a bunch of rich guys thought would be cool while dancing around in the desert? Personally, I won't be working on my sea legs anytime soon. So, geez, Matt, there are no floating cities yet. We get it. But what about stretchy batteries? Okay, that's a strange request, but you know what? Here's a video just about that, because I care. Don't forget to subscribe. Make sure to keep coming back to Seeker for more videos.